Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. So welcome once again, dear devotees, to this 7th session on Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam. I'm very grateful that Param Karuna Prabhu has kindly agreed to host today's session. And I'm also very thankful to Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu, who usually hosts the sessions. Today, for some reason, he is not able to host the session. So in place of him, Param Karuna Prabhu is going to be the host. Dear devotees, we have the 7th session of Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, and I'm very happy that we've come so far. We're still on the first verse, but we are exploring the first verse in great detail because this is the verse on which there are maximum number of commentaries, and after this there will be commentaries on the further verses, but this particular verse is where most commentators have put the most thought and given the greatest number of realizations. The devotees, before we proceed ahead, I'd like to offer a newly created verse for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shiksastakam majjan majjayati svakan sagaurangastatestham mam kadabdhau krakshyati swayam. Shiksashtaka amrita abdhavyo majjan majjayati svakan. Majjan, while drowning himself, Sa Gaurangas, Shri Gauranga simultaneously causes his near and dear ones to drown, Majjayati, Swakan, in the nectar ocean of Siksastakam. Tatastham mam, I am a mere bystander, waiting at the shore. Kada, when? Abdhav Krakshati Swayam, when will Shri Gauranga forcibly pull me in that nectar ocean of Shri Siksastakam? Dear devotees, we'll begin with a quote from His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada specifies that we should attempt to chant more, but this greater chanting should come with attention. Here is the quote by Srila Prabhupada. Param Karuna Prabhu, can you kindly read what Srila Prabhupada says?
Yes, Prabhuji. Please go on chanting nicely and steadily. Chanting 16 rounds is prescribed, but you can chant more rounds and hear them very attentively.
So, dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada specifies here in a letter on 18th of March 1968 that please go on chanting nicely and steadily. So there are two qualities that he specifies. One is that we should be chanting very nicely. In other words, our chanting of Sri Harinam should be with due attention, with due respect, and steadily. Steadily means it should happen every day. So in these two words, nicely and steadily, Srila Prabhupada has included the meanings of Adarat and Anudinam. Nicely means Adarat, with due respect, with due attention, and steadily, which means one should not reduce the quantity that one has decided upon. So nicely and steadily, Adarat Anudinam. Then he says, chanting 16 rounds is prescribed. This is what is prescribed. But you can chant more rounds and hear them very attentively. So greater number of rounds can be chanted, provided that we hear them attentively, dear devotees. So this is very important for all of us to understand. At the end of this presentation, I would like to show another quote from another Vaishnava Acharya. But for beginning this presentation, I'd like to begin with this particular quote by Srila Prabhupada. Dear devotees, we are continuing the first verse. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava maha davagni nirvapanam śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam vidyavadhu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam. The devotees, this is the first verse in the meter Shardula Vikriditam, and we have seen the word for word. Param Karuna Prabhu, can you kindly read the Anvay in sequence?
Yes, Prabhuji. It cleanses the mirror of the consciousness, eradicates the massive wildfire of material existence, causes a moonlight diffusion that blooms the night water lily of all-round auspiciousness, becomes the life and soul of the newlywed bride of all divine knowledge, swells the ocean of joy, causes an experience of complete nectarian bliss. In each successive syllable, as well as word, and thoroughly cleanses the entirety of oneself. That entirety, named Shri Krishna's Sankirtana, reigns supremely victorious.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu. So till now, dear devotees, we have focused on the first two qualities of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And these first two qualities were Cheto Darpana Marjanam and Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. Dear devotees, the third quality, the third flame of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. And we'll try to understand the meaning of this term, but the basic meaning is that Shri Krishna Sankirtanam causes a moonlight diffusion that blooms the night water lily of all-round auspiciousness. Dear devotees, we will try to understand this particular term. The Sanskrit commentator Shri Veerachandra Goswami has explained this term śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam in his commentary Rasika Rangada on the Padyavali, and since the Padyavali includes all the verses of Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, therefore this particular verse and this particular term has also been explained by him. Shri Veerachandra Goswami says, Shreyaḥ Shubham. He says the term Shreyaḥ means Shubham. Shubham means auspiciousness. He says, Eva Kairavam. This Shreyaḥ, this auspiciousness is itself a Kairava, is itself a night water lily. And then he says, Kairavam means Kumudam. Kairavam means night water lily, Kumuda. Then he says, Tasya Chandrika Jyotsna. He says the Chandrika, Chandrika means Jyotsna, moonlight, which causes vikashas, which causes this night water lily to bloom. And then Tam Vitarati Iti. And the Vitaranam or the diffusion of this moonlight is done by Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So he says, Shreyaḥ Kumuda Prafulla Karitvena Chandropamam. Thus, due to causing a bloom in the night water lily of auspiciousness, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is compared here to the moon. So in every comparison, he is highlighting here which what entity Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is being compared to. Dear devotees, in this case also, we can see here that there is a night water lily which is blooming in the presence of the moon, which is causing a diffusion of moonlight. So it is the moonlight which causes the night water lily to bloom. Dear devotees, our commentator is saying that Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is the moon and Śreyah, auspiciousness, is the Kairava. So the moon causes a diffusion of moonlight, Chandrika, and that Chandrika causes the Kairava, the night water lily of auspiciousness for the living entity, to bloom. This is the basic meaning of the term specified by the commentator. So this is the commentary of Shri Veerachandra Goswami. Next, dear devotees, is the commentary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada in his Anubhashya on Śrī-Caitanya-Charitamritam. He says, Shreyamsi eva kairavani kumudani. Varieties of Sreyah, auspiciousness. Dear devotees, for the living entity, there are many varieties of auspiciousness. He does not specify what are the varieties, but there are other commentators who will specify that. Yes, Shreyamsi eva kairavani. Varieties of Sreyah, varieties of auspiciousness are Kairavas, night water lilies. This is Tesham Chandrika. So it is Chandrika, moonlight, that causes them to bloom. And Tasyaha Vitaranam Yasmat. And the Vitaranam, diffusion of this moonlight, happens due to this Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam causes the diffusion of that moonlight, which causes the night lily of auspiciousness to bloom. Similarly, Shri Utsavanand in his Ananda Chandrika commentary says, Kairava-Candrikā-vitaraṇam Mangala-rūpa kaumudi Jyotsna Vistarita Sheelam. The Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. That is, it has the innate nature of dissipating the moonlight that blooms the night water lily of auspiciousness. Dear devotees, these commentators too are saying that Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is directly the moon, and Shri Krishna Sankirtanam here is being compared to the moon, and the moon automatically causes diffusion of the moonlight. And this moonlight results in blooming of Kairava, blooming of the night water lily. And this night water lily is nothing but auspiciousness for the jiva, auspiciousness for the living entity. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam causes a blossoming of auspiciousness for the jiva. Dear devotees, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahashaya also explains this term in a similar way, so I am not repeating his commentary. Whatever Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada has said, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also specified his commentary on the same lines. Then, dear devotees, we have other commentators. Sri Radha Govindanath begins his detailed commentary on śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. He says Sreyah means auspiciousness, Kairava means night water lily, and Chandrika means moonlight. Dear devotees, he says Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is comparable to the Vitaranam, to the diffusion of moonlight that blooms the night water lily, that is Kairava. This Kairava or night water lily represents auspiciousness for the living entity. He says the night water lily blooms in contact with moonlight. Dear devotees, his comparison is slightly different. He's saying Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is the moonlight. Previous commentators were comparing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam directly to the moon. Sri Radha Govindanath says Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is the moonlight which causes auspiciousness for the jiva to bloom. So just a minor difference between him and the previous other commentators. The other commentators were comparing Sri Krishna Sankirtanam to the moon, and the moon automatically causes a diffusion of the moonlight. And Sri Radha Govindanath is comparing Sri Krishna Sankirtanam to the moonlight, not to the moon. And then moonlight obviously means that the moon, Shri Krishna Chandra, is present, and this moonlight is causing the blossoming of auspiciousness for the Jiva. He further continues. In contact with moonlight, the water lily becomes fully bloomed and radiant like a sweet smile. Similarly, by contact with Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, auspiciousness in the form of inclination for Krishna Seva fully develops for the living entity entangled in Maya. It's very important here. Now he is defining what is auspiciousness for the living entity. What is Shreyaḥ? The previous commentators had just commented briefly and said Shreyaḥ auspiciousness is comparable to the night water lily. But now he is defining what is the meaning of auspiciousness for the living entity. So please pay close attention. He says auspiciousness is the inclination for Krishna Seva. And this auspiciousness fully develops for the living entity entangled in Maya. So dear devotees, he is saying that for the living entity, auspiciousness means being inclined to perform Krishna Seva. And this inclination, when it fully develops, the living entity actually engages in Krishna Seva. And that is the night lily of auspiciousness for the living entity. And this night lily blooms in contact with the moonlight of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Then he says, by performing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, the negative impressions within the consciousness of the conditioned living entity are driven away, and the inclinations to render service unto Shri Krishna start blossoming. So he's reminding us of the previous adjectives, Cheto Darpana Marjanam and Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam drives away the negatives, and after the first two negative characteristics, this is the first positive characteristic. So Param Karuna Prabhu, we had heard the first two characteristics, Cheto Darpana Marjanam and Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Are these positive characteristics or negative characteristics?
Seem negative to me, Prabhuji.
Yes, they are negative because both of them indicate removing something. But śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam, does this sound like a negative characteristic or positive?
Positive.
So this is the first positive characteristic of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam that has come up in the course of our discussion. Now, he further continues and says, many times we mistake worldly benefit to be Shreyaḥ. We think auspiciousness means I have become a devotee. Now Krishna will give me wealth. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is working. Now Krishna will give me all facilities, and this is an indication that Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is working. It is giving me śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. He says many times we mistake worldly benefit to be Shreyaḥ, when in fact, dear devotees, Shreyaḥ is not such worldly benefit. He says it is merely Preyah, means to attain sense gratification. He says such worldly benefit further tightens our material bondage and ultimately adds to our misery. So dear devotees, if any sense gratification is coming to us after our execution of Shri Krishna Bhakti, it is a mistake to take it as Shreyaḥ, because Shreyaḥ does not refer to any material benefit obtained as a result of performing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam or Shri Krishna Bhakti. So dear devotees, this is one misconception that he clarifies in his commentary. In fact, Shri Krishna has said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasyaham anugrahinami harishetad dhanam shanai. If I am very merciful to somebody, I gradually begin to take away material facilities from such a person. Of course, that may not happen with every devotee, but at least Shri Krishna does not consider addition of wealth as some sort of increase in the Sreyah or the ultimate auspiciousness of a living entity. Then he says, especially this Preyah, this means to attain sense gratification, is often mistaken by us to be Sreyah or true auspiciousness, and such Preyah is not permanent. Then he says, actual auspiciousness, Sreyah, is that which is first and foremost free from destruction. So if Shri Krishna will bestow some auspiciousness, that auspiciousness is going to be free from destruction and which will not ultimately result in misery and which causes complete cessation of the constant chase for material pleasure. The devotees, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a statement by Shri Krishna, Ami Vigya Ei Murkhe Vishay Kene Diva. Krishna is himself saying, I am very intelligent, why will I give this devotee increased material pleasure? Swacharanamrita Diya Vishay Bhulaiba. In fact, I will give him the relish of my lotus feet, and thus I will cause him to forget sense gratification gradually. So actual Shreya auspiciousness is to gradually reduce one's material sense enjoyment and to gradually attain that which is free from destruction and which doesn't ultimately result in misery. And therefore he says, service to the lotus feet of Krishna in that eternal body, in the perfected body, is indeed the actual Shreya, the actual benefit to be attained. Previously he had said, inclination to serve Krishna is Shreya. And now he is saying, not only inclination, but service to the lotus feet of Krishna is Shreya. So both are Shreya. There are multiple levels of Shreya, auspiciousness for the living entity. The devotee Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada had said, Shreyam, see, there are multiple levels, multiple types of Shreya. So there's not only one Shreya, one auspiciousness, there are multiple levels of auspiciousness for the living entity. But Sri Radha Govindanath says, however, for attaining auspiciousness in the form of eternal service to the lotus feet of Krishna, we first need some things to happen. We need to attain the lower levels of Shreya. What is the first level of Shreya? First and foremost, the living entity should realize that they are a servant of Shri Krishna. So after coming in contact with the devotees, the living entity should realize and be convinced about the fact that we are a servant of Shri Krishna. To realize this fact is the realization of first level of Shreya. Secondly, to develop Sambandha Gyan, between ourselves, the Jiva and Shri Krishna, is the second level of Shreya. The devotees, in a general way, all of us are servants of Shri Krishna. But what is our specific relationship with Shri Krishna? That Sambandha Gyan is bestowed by Diksha and Shiksha from a Guru. So therefore, this Shreya of developing Sambandha Gyan comes from the second level. Third is, after we have Sambandha Gyan, then to develop an inclination for the service of Shri Krishna is the third level of Shreya. And finally, one has to understand that in order to develop these stages, the first step is to develop a favorable inclination towards Shri Krishna. So none of these things can happen unless one has become favorable towards Shri Krishna. So first stage is to become favorable. Second is to realize that we are a servant of Krishna. Third is to develop more specific sambandha gyan between ourselves and Shri Krishna. That happens by Diksha and Shiksha. Fourth is to develop an inclination to actually serve Shri Krishna in a perfected body. Fifth is to actually serve Krishna in a perfected body. Now he says, therefore, development of favorable inclination towards Shri Krishna is indeed the first step in development of the Kairava, night water lily of our Sreyah, of our auspiciousness. This first step of development happens due to Nam Sankirtanam. Somebody comes and tells us Shri Krishna's Nam, Shri Krishna's Roop, Shri Krishna's Guna, Shri Krishna Leela. Somebody informs us about Shri Krishna. And we cannot be informed about Shri Krishna without involving the Nam of Shri Krishna. You cannot have Roop Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Leela Kirtan without Nam Kirtan. Because all these Kirtans involve Nam. Guna Kirtan also requires us to utter Shri Krishna Nam. Leela Kirtan also requires us to utter Shri Krishna Nam. So first step is Nam Kirtan. We should be informed about the name of the person, and then gradually we are informed about the qualities, pastimes, etc. And then we develop a favorable inclination towards Shri Krishna. And this is the first step of Shreyas, and this happens due to Nama Sankirtanam or Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And by effect of Nama Sankirtanam, one develops this first step of favorable inclination towards Shri Krishna. And by the effect of this very Nam Sankirtan, the further stages of development of auspiciousness take place too. So what are the further stages, dear devotees? 5 stages. First, favorable inclination towards Shri Krishna. So dear devotees, this happens because somebody comes to us and informs us about Shri Krishna's Nam, Shri Krishna's Guna, Leela, etc. And we become favorably inclined towards Shri Krishna. So stage 1 happens because of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Param Karuna Prabhu, when you became a devotee in this lifetime for the first time, wasn't it because somebody informed you about the name, form, qualities and pastimes of Shri Krishna? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. So when you became a devotee in this particular life, wasn't it because somebody informed you about the name, form, qualities and pastimes of Shri Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. So stage 1 is achieved because of Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Now stage 2, you were given further understanding about Shri Krishna. Now, this stage 2 also happened because somebody informed us about Shri Krishna's qualities in detail. Isn't it true, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right? Then stage 3, you got Sambandha Gyan through Diksha and Shiksha. So this Sambandha Gyan also happened through the via medium of Shiksha, which is somebody performed Shri Krishna Sankirtanam and gave you deeper knowledge of your specific relationship with Shri Krishna. Isn't that true?
That is probably yet to happen, Prabhuji, but yes.
Right. Then
But
stage
I'm still trying to search for my Sambandha, but just as a basic level servant of Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. Then when Sambandha Gyan is known properly, then you'll have an inclination for service of Shri Krishna in the eternal body. Now, Prabhu, how will this inclination for service of Shri Krishna be developed? By performing what?
Nama Sankirtan.
Right? Not only Nam Sankirtan, but Guna, Rupa, Leela, all forms of Kirtan. Wonderful. And finally, you will actually be able to serve Shri Krishna, and in this service also, there will be role of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So Sri Radha Govindanath is saying that these are the levels of Shreya, auspiciousness for the living entity. You can consider these 5 levels as the 5 petals of the Kairava, of the night lily. And these 5 petals bloom in contact with Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, which is like the moonlight. So this is the explanation given by Sri Radha Govindanath in his commentary to Śrī-Caitanya-Charitamritam, and this is how he has explained śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. Now we try to understand from the very detailed commentary of Sri Kanupriya Goswami in his Nama Chintamani literature. His literature Nama Chintamani, he has commented upon the first verse of Sri Siksastakam, and there he says that the original verse is saying Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is supremely victorious. He says, what is the nature of this Shri Krishna Sankirtanam? He says, in reply to this, the verse specifies the third characteristic. śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is like the Chandrika, moonlight, that blossoms the Kairava, night water lily of Sreyah, which is auspiciousness. So he too is comparing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam to the moonlight, not to the moon. And then he is saying that auspiciousness for the jiva is the Kairava, is the night water lily, which blooms in contact with the moonlight of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Then he says, as a result of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, the great wildfire of material existence, which we discussed previously, Bhava Mahadavagni, which consists of threefold miseries, is extinguished. And after the fire is extinguished, he says the highest auspiciousness, Shreya, becomes manifest. Then he says the scene of a burning wildfire is ghastly. But the exact opposite scene becomes manifest. The opposite of ghastly is serene, calm, pleasing. So the opposite scene of a serene, clean lake glowing in the moonlight, consisting of a blooming night water lily, becomes manifest. Also, he's trying to hint something. The wildfire, Bhava Mahadavagni, becomes even more troublesome in daytime when the sun is very hot. Dear devotees, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam extinguishes Bhava Mahadavagni, and then it produces the cooling effect of the moon. And dear devotees, when it produces the cooling effect of the moon, not only that, it also produces the auspicious scene of the moonlight blooming the night water lily. So this is the exact opposite scene of Bhava Mahadavagni. So this is what Sri Kanupriya Goswami says at this particular point of time. He says here, Shreya, auspiciousness, is the Upameya, entity being compared, and Kairava, night water lily, is the Upaman, standard of comparison. So previously we have seen what is Upameya and Upaman. So for example, when we say your face is like the moon, so face is the Upameya, the entity being compared, and moon is the Upaman, the standard that it is being compared to. So similarly, here Shreya, auspiciousness, is the Upameya, the entity being compared, and Kairava, night water lily, is the Upaman, the standard of comparison. Also, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is the Upameya, entity being compared, and Chandrika, moonlight, is the Upaman, standard of comparison. So we saw that in the image of the moonlight and the night water lily, that this is the Upameya and this is the Upaman. We saw that in that particular image. He further continues and says, what is the actual meaning of Shreya in this particular phrase? So just like Sri Radha Govindanath, He's going to deliberate upon the meaning of Shreya, actual auspiciousness for the living entity. Then he says, in reply, that which prevents the degradation of the soul and that which causes gradual elevation for the soul is to be known as Shreya, auspiciousness. This is a very important definition, dear devotees, because different living entities are on different levels of development of their spiritual nature. Therefore, what is Shreya for one living entity may not be Shreya for another. For example, one particular living entity is inclined purely to materialism. To bring them to the path of spiritual life is Shreya for them. And another living entity is very much inclined to spiritual life, but they are inclined to Jnana Yoga. Now, for this other living entity, to bring them to the path of Bhakti Yoga is Shreya for them. Now, another living entity is already inclined to Bhakti Yoga and practicing Bhakti Yoga. To bring this living entity to the point of Krishna Prem is Shreya for them. So, that which prevents the degradation of the soul and that which causes gradual elevation for the soul is to be known as Shreya. This is a very correct definition, a very precise definition of Shreya that he has given. He says the soul and matter are completely different from each other. Even one's own body and whatever is related to one's body, such as home, money, relatives, etc., are completely different from the soul. So he distinguishes between the body and the soul, and he says any dharma related to the benefit of the soul is known as Atma Dharma. And any dharma related to the benefit of body or other material connections is to be known as Daihika. Daihika means related to the Deha, related to the body. Daihika Dharma. So these two dharmas are respectively known in Shastra as Shreyah and Preyah. Atma Dharma, the dharma for benefit of the soul, is Shreya. And any dharma for the benefit of material connections is Preyah. And he doesn't just make this point without quoting a pramana. He quotes a pramana from the Katha Upanishad. This is a pramana from Katha Upanishad which he quotes. Shreyascha preyascha manusyametas tau samparitya vivinakti dhira shreyo hi dhiro vipreyaso vrinite preyo mando yoga kshemad vrinite. Shreyascha preyascha, both Shreya, that is spiritual benefit, and Preyah, material benefit, approach the human being, Manushyametah, and Tau Samparitya, carefully considering both of them, Vivinakti Dhiraha, the Dhiraha, the sober human, makes a choice. What choice does he make? Shreyo hi dhiro abhipreyaso vrinite. The sober human being makes the choice of selecting Shreya, ultimate benefit for the soul, and abhipreyaso, and neglects Preyah. Whereas Preyo mando, whereas the foolish human selects Preyah, immediate material benefit, Yoga kshemad vrinite, and disregards the attainment of Shreya, disregards the attainment and protection of his Shreya and selects Preyah. So this Shreya and Preyah are defined in the Upanishads, directly in the Katha Upanishad. Both terms Shreyas and Preyas are mentioned. So first and foremost, Sri Kanupriya Goswami defined what is Shreya and what is Preyah. And after defining what is Shreya and Preyah, then he says the intelligent person selects Shreya at the cost of Preyah. And the foolish person selects Preyah at the cost of Shreya. Then he says, Daihika Dharma, that is trying to ensure auspiciousness of the body, relatives, etc., is fully material in nature and ultimately results in unhappiness. it is also temporary and therefore is not Shreyah. So he is now trying to determine what is Sreyah, what is ultimate Shreyah for a living entity. So certainly going to work, earning a lot of money, fulfilling the needs of the family, these are daihika dharma. But these dharmas cannot be called as Shreya because they are fully material in nature, they are temporary, and they ultimately result in happiness. This is the same line of thought that Sri Radha Govindanath had taken in his commentary. He says, beyond happiness in this life is to try and put efforts to attain Swarga. Some people give up happiness in this life, perform karma kanda in order to attain Swarga, heaven of the Devatas. He says the Devatas have a subtle body free from disease and old age. There are only two defects in that body, birth and death. And the two defects are not present, are not visible so much, which is disease and old age. So it is said that the Devatas, they have a body which is free from disease and old age. They do not experience the signs of old age, except that, just before, sometime before they're about to die, they start noticing some symptoms of death. That's it. And they do not suffer from any disease unless they are cursed. So usually they don't have any diseases. So they don't suffer from disease and old age usually. But this body of the Devatas lasts only as long as one has punya, the required repository of piety. Therefore, this too is impermanent and it cannot be considered as Shreya. The devotees, he then says, beyond Deva Swarga, beyond the Swarga Loka, are the higher planetary systems of Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapahaloka, and Satyaloka. These planets too are not Shreya and they can be attained by yogic austerities. He quotes Bhagavan Krishna's words from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yogasya tapasaschaiva nyasasya gatayo mala maharjanas tapah satyam bhakti yogasya madgatihi. In 11th canto, 24th chapter, verse number 14, Shri Krishna says, Yogasya tapasaschaiva, by mystic yoga, great austerities, nyasasya, and by sannyas, gatayo amalaha. So one attains these very pure destinations. What are the very pure destinations? Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaha, Tapoloka, Satyam and Satyaloka. But Bhakti Yogasya, by Bhakti Yoga, Madgatihi, Shri Krishna says, one achieves my transcendental abode. At this point of time, our interest is in the first three lines. Yogasya tapasaschaiva nyasasya gatayo amalaha maharjanas tapah satyam. One attains Maharlok, Janalok, Tapolok and Satyalok by performing Ashtanga Yoga. And these, dear devotees, are the higher planets. On these planetary systems, especially on Maharlok, Janalok, Tapahlok, the living entities survive for the duration of one kalpa, 1 day of Shri Brahma. And when the time of destruction comes at the end of every day, there are some living entities who may survive for more than 1 day of Brahma. So then these living entities temporarily shift to higher planets such as Jana, Tapa and Satyalok while the partial destruction is going on. This, dear devotees, is the lifespan of living entities who are staying on these higher planets. And this is more elevated prayas, more elevated material enjoyment in comparison to Swarga. Swarga is greater material enjoyment in comparison to a good life on planet Earth. So in this way, there are many levels of enjoyment present within the universe, but none of them can be called Shreya. Even Satyalok, is not categorized as Shreya. Further, he says, in fact, any attainment in this material world cannot be called Shreya because it is filled with material modes. So he quotes Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 40th verse. न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः सत्वं प्रकृतिजैर्मुक्तं यदेभिः स्यात् त्रिभिर्गुणैः. So न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा, there is no being existing here on earth, or divi deveshu, or amongst the gods in the higher planetary systems. Sattvam prakriti jair muktam, free from these modes of nature. Yadebhi syat tribhir gunai. So there is nothing in this entire creation which is free from the three modes, and anything which consists of the three modes, any benefit within the three modes of nature cannot be categorized as Shreyas. It is merely Preyas. And then he says, Atma Dharma is what pertains to the soul and the Supreme Lord. And there are three paths specified in Shastra for those who are looking for Shreya. What are the three paths? So, the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.6 he quotes, Yogastrayo maya prokta drinam shreyo vidhitsaya. That term Shreya is directly present in this verse. Yogastrayo maya prokta. Three paths of yoga have been spoken by me. Shreyo vidhitsaya, for the purpose of attainment of Shreya. So he directly takes the word Shreya from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are devotees for the elevation of the living entity. There are three main paths of yoga that are there. What are the three main paths of yoga? The three main paths of yoga are Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga is also there, but Karma Yoga is merely to elevate oneself within this particular universe. So it cannot truly be considered as Shreya. Shreya, or ultimate liberation, can be attained through Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. Dear devotees, then he takes up the topic of Jnana Yoga. What is Jnana Yoga? Now let us try to understand Shreya in the form of Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is taken up by those who are dedicated to an impersonal understanding of the absolute truth. Those who wish to identify with the nameless, formless, qualityless, attributeless, impersonal Brahman after liberation take to this path of yoga, which is known as Jnana Yoga. On this path, dear devotees, they have to study Vedanta and deeply meditate on statements within the Vedanta, such as Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everything here indeed is Brahman. What is Brahman, dear devotees? Brahman is the impersonal absolute truth which is all pervasive within this universe. You are also Brahma. I am also Brahma. Everything here that you can see and that you cannot see is fully pervaded by the impersonal Brahman. The impersonal Brahman has no form, no shape, no attributes. In fact, it has no name. The name Brahma is given to it so that at least we can have some discussion about it. Otherwise, about the impersonal Brahman, it is said, Yato vacho nivartante. All words bounce off the impersonal Brahman without giving any specific meaning within the mind. So this is what the impersonal Brahman is. It is that reality which is very difficult to comprehend with the material senses. In the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna acknowledges that it is very difficult. Klesha dikhitarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. In the 12th chapter of Gita, Shri Krishna says this, that it is very difficult to focus on for those whose hearts are dedicated to avyakta, the impersonal unmanifest Brahman. So this path of Jnana Yoga is to be treaded by those who are impersonalists. It is Sreyah certainly because it leads to liberation, mukti. But that mukti, that liberation is impersonal liberation in the form of merging with the impersonal Brahman. Sri Kanupriya Goswami says initially, when one walks on this path, one knows that one is separate from the Brahman, still tries to identify with the Brahman. The Aham Brahmasmi. Here, Aham is a separate term and Brahma is a separate term. So, in that statement, Aham Brahmasmi, one is already distinguishing between Aham and Brahma. So, already this difference is there. And later, the impersonalist wishes to merge into the impersonal Brahman and experience happiness. But Sri Kanupriya Goswami says that after merging into the impersonal Brahman, one will lose one's identity, one will lose the sense of Aham. And by losing the sense of Aham, one will also lose the sense of individual happiness, individual joy. So the purpose of experiencing individual joy will not be attained after merging in the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. And this happens by practice of Jnana Yoga. So Jnana Yoga may be considered as some level of Shreyas, but it cannot be considered as ultimate Shreyas. Then comes Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is the practice of 8 limbs of yoga as given by the school of Muni Patanjali. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam. So these are the various stages. So in these 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali Muni has specified in his Yoga Sutra that at the end of Ashtanga Yoga, one develops what is called as Samadhi. Samadhi, in that stage of Samadhi, one's mind becomes free of all mental modulations, all material movements, and becomes perfectly still. Dear devotees, this system of Ashtanga Yoga also is about freeing one's mind from material conditions. Jnana Yoga is also a process to free one's being from material nature and to merge in the impersonal Brahman. Dear devotees, both these systems of yoga are ultimately aimed at self-benefit. But dear devotees, he says that self-benefit, highest benefit, Shreyah, will automatically be attained if we render benefit to the Supreme Self. By rendering benefit to the Supreme Self, the benefit of the individual self is automatically attained, and that system is Bhakti Yoga, which is selfless, in which one does not care so much about one's own happiness, but one cares about the happiness of the Supreme Self, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Dharmaha projita kaitavaha. He quotes this verse and says, in the very beginning of Bhakti Yoga, the sadhaka is supposed to give up selfish tendencies of liberation. Because this tendency of liberation, in exchange of what I am performing, I want to get liberated. This selfish thought cannot lead to Shreya. Actual Shreya is to become selfless and to give benefit to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and that is only possible through the process of Bhakti Yoga. Jnana Yoga is purely for self-benefit. It is not about giving anything to anybody else. Ashtanga Yoga is also about self-benefit, freeing one's own self, freeing the mind from the mental modulations, chitta vrittis. Dear devotees, Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga are about self-benefit, whereas Bhakti Yoga is the only true selfless system, where one does not ultimately care whether one is staying within the material world or whether one is getting liberated. The devotee is perfectly happy with staying in the material world as long as the devotee gets the opportunity to render pleasing service unto Bhagavan. This, dear devotees, is the ultimate Shreyas for the living entity. So, this Bhakti Yoga is declared as the actual Shreya in the commentary of Shri Kanupriya Goswami. Dear devotees, he is taking the same line as Shri Radha Govindanath ultimately, because Shri Radha Govindanath said that Shreya comes in various levels. First is to become inclined towards Krishna. Second is to have Sambandha Gyan. Third is to, have a hankering for serving Krishna. And fourth is to actually serve Krishna. Actually, serving Krishna is nothing but Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti hi seva bhagavatah. So, what Sri Radha Govindanath said in different words is said in different words by Sri Kanupriya Goswami. So, Bhakti Yoga is the actual Shreya, but Bhakti Yoga does not come in a single stage. Bhakti Yoga progresses through various stages. And then he quotes the verse. Adau Shraddha tatah sadhu sangotha bhajan kriya tato nartha nivrittihi syat tato nishtha ruchis tatha tatha saktis tato bhavas tatha prema bhyudanchati. So these are the various stages. Param Karuna Prabhu, are you there, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. So Prabhu, Adau Shraddha. Initially, one must have Shraddha. Param Karuna Prabhu, can you please tell me what is the meaning of Shraddha?
Faith, conviction.
Conviction in what?
Conviction in Shastra.
But how does such conviction in Shastra develop?
Through initial sadhu sangha.
And what does the sadhu do in that initial sangha?
He shares Krishna Katha, Krishna. He does Krishna Kirtan and we hear that.
So wonderful. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam transforms into Shraddha. Do you agree, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam becomes the Upadan Karan. Upadan Karan means it is Shri Krishna Sankirtan which causes us to develop Shraddha. Today, whatever Shraddha you have in Shastra, Prabhu, that Shraddha came because of what?
Because of hearing from devotees.
So what you heard, that Shri Krishna Sankirtan, didn't it transform into the Shraddha within your heart?
Absolutely.
So association of that sadhu was the nimitta karan and Shri Krishna Sankirtanam was the upadan karan, and both of these karans got together and produced the first stage. And what was the first stage, Prabhu?
Shraddha.
Shraddha, wonderful. Now, Prabhu, take this Shraddha. All right. And then after this Shraddha, you got the second stage. What is the second stage, Prabhu?
Sadhu Sangha.
And what does Sadhu Sangha consist of, Prabhu?
Again, Krishna Kirtana.
Krishna Kirtan, wonderful. So then this second stage, Sadhu Sangha, again it mixes with Shri Krishna Sankirtan. And then it produces the third stage. And what is the third stage, Prabhu?
Bhajan Kriya.
Bhajan Kriya. And in Bhajan Kriya, what does Bhajan Kriya? Bhajanera Madhya Shreshta. What are the main 9 types of bhakti? What are the main 9 types of Bhajan Kriya?
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Padasnityanam,
Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam.
Atmanivedanam.
Okay, and which is the topmost, the crest jewel of these 9?
Sankirtanam.
Wonderful. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Prabhu, Shravanam. Can Shravanam take place without Kirtanam?
No.
Can smaranam, remembrance, happen unless somebody first performs kirtanam?
No.
Can pada sevanam, service to the lotus feet, take place unless somebody informs us about what pada sevanam is?
No.
Can archanam take place unless somebody explains to us what archanam is?
No.
Can the dasyam, sakhyam, atma nivedanam take place unless somebody performs kirtan of those processes to us?
No, Prabhuji.
Therefore, which is the process which stands out topmost in bhajan kriya?
Kirtana.
Wonderful. So this kirtanam again mixes with bhajan kriya and gives you the next stage, Prabhu. What is the next stage?
Bhajan Kriya.
Right? And of course, bhajan kriya, you perform kirtan and then you are automatically sent to the next stage. What is the next stage?
Anartha Nivritti.
Anartha nivritti. And anartha nivritti means getting rid of the negativities. Now, Prabhu, who tells us what the negativities are and how to get rid of the negativities?
Sadhus.
Sadhu tells us, Shastra tells us, and how the Sadhu telling us is nothing but Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. He is telling us about, because Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is positive as well as negative. Limbs of bhakti can be positive and negative. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, there are positive limbs of bhakti and negative limbs of bhakti. Isn't it so, Prabhu?
Yes. Yes,
When Shri
Prabhuji. First 10
Rupa,
and next 10.
yes, when Shri Rupa Goswami is telling us about the 64 limbs of bhakti, which limb of bhakti is Shri Rupa Goswami performing?
Kirtana.
So, even telling us about Anartha Nivritti requires Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Then Shri Krishna Sankirtanam and Anartha Nivritti produce the next stage. What is the next stage, Prabhu?
Nishtha.
Nishtha. Finally, you start becoming fixed. And then you yourself start performing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And then you start glorifying the name, form, qualities, pastimes, and you develop the next stage, Prabhu. What is the next stage?
Ruchi.
Ruchi. And then it becomes so tasteful for you, you don't need to be told. By your own self, you start performing Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, Kirtan according to your taste. And then you develop the next stage, Prabhu. And what is that?
Asakti.
Asakti. And then in that stage of deep attachment, you continue to perform Shri Krishna Sankirtanam and you end up with the next stage. And what is that?
Bhava.
Finally, with bhava, with tears flowing through one's eyes and with all the ecstatic symptoms, one performs Shri Krishna Sankirtanam and ends up in the final stage. And what is that, Prabhu?
Prema.
Prema. And after you attain prema, you attain a siddha deha. In the spiritual world, what do you perform, Prabhu?
Kirtan.
So, śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. This is the explanation of Sri Kanupriya Goswami. So, through all the stages of Shreya, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam is that Mukhya Karan, is the main reason which mixes with each stage and produces the next stage. This, dear devotees, is very important for us to understand. śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. What is Shreya? Ultimately, Shreya is to attain the direct service of Krishna after attaining Krishna Prem. This is the same thing that Sri Radha Govindanath was saying. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was saying the same thing when he said Shreyamsi. There are multiple types of Shreya. Shraddha is also Shreyas. Sadhu Sangha is also Shreya. Bhajan Kriya is also Shreya. Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, all are various levels of Shreya. All of these are made possible by Shri Krishna Sankirtan. So finally, the actual Shreya is attainment of Prema and attainment of an eternal body in which one can serve Shri Krishna. That is Shreya. Dear devotees, this Shreya is like a Kairava. Kairava means it is like a blooming night lily. And this night lily blooms in contact with the moonlight of Shri Krishna Sankirtan. This is the meaning of the phrase śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. Dear devotees, at this point, I'd like to pause But as I said in the beginning, I showed a quote by Srila Prabhupada where he said, if you want to increase your number of rounds, no problem, you can increase. First and foremost, chant attentively. First and foremost, he said, chant attentively and chant with regularity, steadily, he said. So chant attentively and steadily. Adarat anudinam. And then if you want to increase beyond 16, then make sure that you chant attentively. That is what Srila Prabhupada said. So that was the quote I showed in the beginning. I'd like to end with a quote by Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So his teachings were compiled in the Gaudiya magazine, in the Bengali Gaudiya magazine published under the direction of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. In this Gaudiya magazine, there were many teachings of Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. One of his teachings related to chanting the holy name was given as follows. Param Karuna Prabhu, can you kindly read this teaching of him?
Yes, Prabhuji. Rather than inattentively pulling millions and millions of beads on the mala, it is much more beneficial to cultivate fields and to water plants for the service of Vaishnavas. Such service to Vaishnavas results in genuine attachment for Harinam.
Yes, so there was an article entitled Srila Jagannathera Upadeshavali in the Gaudiya magazine, 17th year, page number 504. And the original Bangla also I have typed out. Anavdhanera Sahita Laksha Laksha Malatana Apeksha Vaishnava Sevar Janya Bagan Chash Ugache Jaldevya Adhik Mangal Janak Vaishnav Sevar Phale Name Akapat Ruchi Haibe. This is the original Bangla for those who understand Bangla, and the English translation for the same is given above. Those who want to see the scan of the original Gaudiya magazine, here is the scan. The scan is of poor quality, so I have typed it out the same thing below in Bangla font, and the English translation of the same is given above. So he's making a very important point. Rather than inattentively pulling millions and millions of beads on the mala, it is much more beneficial to cultivate fields and to water plants for the service of the Vaishnavas. Why? Because by pulling millions and millions of beads on the mala inattentively, one will not attain Krishna Prem. One will not attain genuine attachment for Harinam. But by seva unto the Vaishnavas, one will attain genuine attachment to Shri Harinam. Therefore, it is much better to serve the Vaishnavas rather than inattentively pulling millions and millions of beads on the mala. This, of course, doesn't mean that we reduce the strength that we have currently accepted. But this is further emphasis on the point, Adarad Anudinam. All the previous acharyas are emphasizing this point, that kindly chant with due respect and chant daily and do not chant inattentively. With this, I'd like to pause my speech today. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Yadatra Skhalitam Kinchit Vidvam Saha Purayantu Tat Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit Tad Guru Reva Me Nahi. Yadatra Skhalitam Kinchit. If there's anything mistaken in what I said, Vidvam Saha, your learned devotees, Purayantu Tat. Kindly correct whatever was mistaken. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. But if there's anything nice, please remember Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Gurujanas. Me Nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Such a wonderful description of śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. I honestly did not realize there was so much depth in just 4 words. Thank you for enlightening all of us with such wonderful Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan.
It was much better last time when you were personally present here with me. So I feel some separation from you, but thank you so much.
So we will transition to Q&A, Prabhuji. Is that okay? Should
Yeah,
we
we should
make
transition to
some
Q&A.
clarifications?
Yeah, so please specify the clarifications before we move ahead.
So the first and foremost is that this whole series, I think we announced it in the beginning or not, probably not, that is institution neutral, personality neutral.
Yeah.
No promotion or criticism of any institution or person living or disappeared. And so please keep your questions neutral in that sense and not loaded about such and such institution or such and such person said so, and to compare one against the other. So that is the main clarification. Anything you wanted to add, Prabhuji, on this particular item?
Yeah. So first is that the series of talks is neutral to all institutions, and we respect all Vaishnavas from all branches of Mahaprabhu's family. There are Vaishnavas from various institutions, various groups who attend the series of talks and who listen to these series of talks after they are uploaded. So kindly keep your queries institution, individual, neutral. Please don't ask any loaded queries. Also, if there is any particular query that is not related to the talk, then it is best not to ask such queries. The discussion is meant for topics which were discussed during the talk. If there are some queries which require me to look up a very specific reference, better to ask that query in the group, in the WhatsApp group that we have made for the purpose of discussion of queries. And if you would like to get added to the WhatsApp groups, but you are not yet added, you can kindly send an email to this particular address. The address is displayed in front of you. You send an email to this address and include your WhatsApp number. And we'll make sure that we add you to the group. There are two groups. One is mainly for announcements. One is also for Q&A. So whichever group you want to be a part of, please send an email to this with your WhatsApp number, and we'll make sure you're added to the groups. So we can start project. First is Kirtida Sundari Mataji Prabhu. Can we unmute her?
Yes, I have requested.
Krishna, thank you so much, Karuṇā Prabhu. Thank you so much, Śrī Prabhu, for the wonderful session, as always. I have just one question on today's topic.
Yeah.
You have shared one slide where you mentioned that Krishna has mentioned that there are 3 processes by which we can get Shreya. And in that slide, you have mentioned that there are 3 processes, and then you explained about the Jnana, Karma, Yoga, and then finally Bhakti. But then when you were explaining, you said that Jnana and Ashtanga also lead to some kind of prayas only, not exactly Shreyas. So ultimately, it's only through Bhakti Yoga that we get the Shreyas?
No. Jnana and Ashtanga. See, there are actually 4 yogas. Karma, Jnana, Ashtanga, and Bhakti. Karma Yoga by itself is not a platform of perfection. Karma Yoga leads to Jnana or Bhakti Yoga. If we see in the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga itself is not promised as a platform of perfection. It leads to higher platforms such as Jnana, Ashtanga, or Bhakti. Now, Jnana and Ashtanga Yogas, they can be called Shreyas. They can be called Shreyas because they lead to Mukti or liberation. But Shreyas also happens on various levels. Mukti is one level of Shreyas, but Mukti is self-benefit. Actual benefit, actual Shreyas is where pleasure of Bhagavan is also ensured. And that is why Sri Kanupriya Goswami said, although Jnana and Ashtanga are also Shreyas on one level, but actual or higher Shreyas is Bhakti Yoga. So that is what he was trying to, that point he wanted to make at that particular point. So I hope that clarifies, Mataji. Is there something else you want to ask in that regard?
No, thank you, Prabhu. That really helps. Just one addition to this,
Yes.
that what is the destination of Ashtanga yogis? Because you said they normally land up to Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. That is again something material.
Right. So the Ashtanga yogi is within the heart, they are focusing on Paramatma. And ultimately, after attaining Samadhi, they can take two routes. One is the route of, becoming a personalist. Another is the route of becoming an impersonalist. So if they take the pathway of becoming an impersonalist and they also want to dissolve that image of Paramatma within the consciousness that they're experiencing, then they can take the impersonal route and gain impersonal liberation. But if they are focused on the personal form of Bhagavan and they develop some inclination for having some sort of a relationship with Bhagavan, or at least they acknowledge the greatness of that form of Bhagavan, they can enter into the spiritual planets and acquire some form there in which they can continue in Shantaras. So Shantaras is mainly meant for such Ashtanga yogis. So that is the answer to your query, Mataji. I hope that satisfies your query.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much. Really grateful to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Next, we have Vishwadeep Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yeah.
It's a very nice class we had today. We also, I knew that concept of Shreyas and Preyas, and every day I chant Siksastakam, but never connected it that way, that we get the importance of reading the commentaries to your classes. So
I'm very grateful to the commentators, and one thing I can do for them is to mention their names while I'm reading from their commentaries, because that is gratitude. They are the ones who brought about these points. So it is important to mention the credit, and the credit goes to these respective commentators for bringing out these wonderful points.
wonderful. So I have a question about the Shreyas. One of the step you told is Sambandha Gyan. And in Upadeshamrit series, we had discussion about Seva Sadhaka Rupena, that in Siddha Rupa, Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad says that it is mainly Vrajastha, in Vraja Leela. So about Mahaprabhu, we get in Manasiksha that we should see him as Nandishwara Patisutatve, as Krishna only. But this sometimes leads to some apasampradaya, or thinking Gauranga and Krishna same day, the thing goes in some different direction. So how should we see Das Goswami Pad's this statement, and how should we see our sambandha to Mahaprabhu?
In Manasiksha, it is said that one should see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the son of Nanda Maharaj, and the same feeling, the same sentiment is echoed. Brajendra Nandane Jai Shachi Shuta Haila Sai. Same sentiment is echoed in that particular bhajan by Sri Narottam Das Thakur. How does it lead to an upper sampradaya? It can lead to an upper sampradaya if one starts thinking that just as I have an emotion, I am allowed to have an emotion of Madhurya Ras towards Shri Krishna. It is also possible to have an emotion of Madhurya Ras towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is called as Gaura Nagari Bhav, and that Gaura Nagari Bhav has not been accepted by our recent acharyas such as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, etc. So this Gaura Nagari Bhav is present in some branches of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, but it has not gained popular acceptance of many of the Vaishnava acharyas. So therefore, by getting proper teachings from a guru, one should understand how to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in which mood and how to serve Shri Krishna in which particular mood. So it is only the guidance of one's Gurujanas that saves us from the thought that one can become, one can have a conjugal relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is called as Gaura Nagari Bhav, which is to be avoided as per the recommendations of our recent acharyas. So I hope that clarifies.
Yes, we have to get that mood how to serve Mahaprabhu even in Siddha Deha to Guru only, that we will know.
To Guru only. So whatever service in one's perfected existence one wants to render to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that should be approved by the Guru. And there should have be that service should be in the mood of the existing associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So can you tell me, Prabhu, who are the main associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what mood do they have towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Like Swarup Damodar Goswami, then Rai Ramananda, they were Sakhis previously.
No,
So,
but what mood as Shri Swarup Damodar Goswami, as Shri Rai Ramananda, what mood do they have towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Dasya.
So they are mainly trying to be servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they don't even put their hands around the shoulder of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and exhibit Sakhya. They don't even try to become parents of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is the mood that we, those of us who are following in Sri Rupa Goswami's footsteps, so shouldn't we have the same mood towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Sri Rupa Goswami had towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Absolutely.
So the mood that Sri Rupa Goswami had towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Dasya. So we also have that same mood towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Dasya. Is there any associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu present during his time who exhibited a mood of Madhurya towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi?
No.
No. So why should we try to disturb the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So that is, we are supposed to follow in the footsteps of Sri Rupa Goswami. So that is the answer to that.
That's clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next we have Samarpan Gopa Prabhu.
Yeah.
Can you unmute Samarpan Gopa Prabhu? Okay, we'll come back to you, Samarpan Gopa Prabhu. Next, we will go to Kamniya Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Babaji, our humble obeisances at your lotus feet, to the Dandvat palms, to Param Karuṇā Babu and all the Vaishnavas. Thank you so much for such a wonderful, in-depth discussion, Babaji. As Bishwajit Prabhu mentioned, right, when we sing Siksastakam, probably we finish in 1 or 2 minutes. But here we are going by word, and into each word we are spending like 2-3 sessions. So it is complete. I have really no words to express that, because I never thought about that śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam we can talk about for 1 hour. It when we speak, it takes less than a second. So, Prabhuji, and thank you so much. I really, we are very, very delighted and to listen all this nectarian, which you are putting together. So it is a tremendous effort you are putting for fallen souls like me. So, Prabhuji, as we,
The credit goes to these previous commentators, and I'm happy to mention them by name. Some of them come from different families of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lineage, but all of them are ultimately belonging to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's family. I'm very happy to, quote from these previous commentators. And some of these commentators are very dear to the heart of my own Gurujanas. So I'm very happy to quote their realizations. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving the credit to the well-deserved Goswamis. So, Babuji, as we contemplate and as we are discussing thoroughly this Nama Sankirtanam, because entire Siksastakam is based on a Nam. So, and we always listen from the different lectures that Nam and Nami are non-different, right? The Krishna himself and Krishna's name are non-different. But as in the Kali Yuga, like we have been programmed on, especially me, I talk about, it might be a very silly question to ask, but still I'm daring to ask. And if you think that this is not relevant, please, don't reply that. So when we think about that, technically, okay, philosophically, we understand that Nam and Nami are non-different. But when we start chanting and when we do the kirtan, how we really technically or how we really perceive that concept and put it in our mind that okay, because when we say Nam, okay, so Nam is itself just a word, but when you say somebody person, right, the mind or the actual consciousness, it always thinks about Krishna as in his full spiritual bodily form, right? So how we, I hope I'm trying to express my questions clearly. That how you perceive that and make it without any doubt that okay, this is I'm still not doubting the philosophical aspect which we had. Nam and Nami are definitely non-different, but sometimes we are not able to contemplate it, and our consciousness wants to see the Krishna as a form rather than in the Nam itself, right? But when we are listening to all so much glories of Nam, if we can understand that way, we can focus more towards Nam rather than the form, So if you can shed some lights and so that will be great. Thank you so much, Babuji.
Right.
And thank
Right. So the query is, if Nam and Nami are different, how can we technically, theoretically understand that Nam and Nami are non-different from each other? And because when we hear about Krishna Nam, it becomes difficult slightly to perceive how Krishna Nam can be completely non-different from Shri Krishna himself. Is that the essence of your query, Prabhuji?
Yes, Babuji. Yeah.
Right. So the answer given by the previous acharyas is that you don't have to artificially see Nam and Nami as completely non-different. The acharyas have also distinguished between Nam and Nami. So it's not that both of them are completely non-different. There is difference between Nam and Nami. This difference has been clarified in great detail by Srila Rupa Goswami in Shri-Namashtakam, which is part of his Tavamala. In Shri-Namashtakam, Srila Rupa Goswami, in the 6th verse, he says, Vachyam, Vachakam. This should be Vachyam, it is not typed correctly. Vachyam Vachakam ityudeti bhavato nama swarupadvayam. Oh, Nama, you have swarupadvayam, two forms. Bhavataha, yours, there are two forms of yours. And what are the two forms? Vachyam and Vachakam. So what is Vachyam and Vachakam? So Vachyam is the named personality, and Vachakam is the name or the syllable, set of syllables. So already a distinction is made between named and name, Krishna and his name. Otherwise, why will it called Dvayam? Dvayam means two. So there is a distinction between both of them. Therefore, they are here described as two. So there is obviously a difference between Vachya, the named personality, and the named personality is also known as Param Brahma, and the Vachaka is also known as Shabda Brahma. So Param Brahma and Shabda Brahma are two distinct forms of the absolute truth. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, Sri Krishna says this. I will point out in the 6th canto, 16th chapter, verse number 51. Bhagavan himself says to Chitraketu Maharaj something. He says, Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma, Mamobhe Shashwati Tanu. Ubhe, both are Mama Shashwati Tanu, my eternal bodies. What are my two eternal bodies? Shabda Brahma, which is name, and Parabrahma, my transcendental form. Srila Prabhupada translates, I am the form of the transcendental vibrations like Omkar and Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, and I am the supreme absolute truth. These two forms of mine, namely the transcendental sound and the eternally blissful spiritual form of the deity, are my eternal forms. These are not material. So, Karuṇā Krishna Prabhu, how many forms? One or two?
Two.
So then how can you see absolute non-difference when Krishna himself has given difference? So when Krishna himself is giving difference, you are not supposed to see non-difference. Krishna himself has specified that there is a difference. But they are non-different in the sense that the Vachak, the name, is referring to the Vachya, the named personality. And this connection is eternal and it is never going to change. In the material world, somebody's Vachak may change. In this life, I am known by one name. In another life, I may be known by another name. Vachak changes. But Shri Krishna's Vachak is eternal. It always stays the same. And therefore, in that sense, there is no difference between Shri Krishna and his name. But there is also a distinction between Shri Krishna and his name. So what is the distinction between Shri Krishna and his name? Another distinction is given by Sri Rupa Goswami in that same verse of Namashtakam. Purvasmat parameva hanta karunam. This should be karunam, not karuna. Karunam tatrapi jani mahe. So I understand Rupa Goswami says, Purvasmat parameva hanta karunam. More merciful than the Purva, than the named personality, more merciful is the name. So why? Because Yastasmin vihita parada nivaha prani samantat bhaved asyenidam upasisopi sadanandam budam vajjati. If somebody commits aparad towards the named personality, Vachyam, they can be saved by uttering Vachaka, by name. Somebody who commits aparad towards Shri Krishna can be saved by Krishna Nam. So tell me, Prabhu, who is most merciful? Krishna Nam or Shri Krishna?
Krishna Nam.
Wonderful. The same fact is put forth by the Vaishnava commentator Sri Harishuri in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam when Bakasura tries to swallow Shri Krishna. He says, Krishna nama mukhe sthapyam na Krishna pratima kvachit. You can touch Krishna's name with your mouth. Don't try to touch Krishna's form with your mouth. Otherwise, you'll end up like Bakasur. So although there is non-difference, there is a difference between both of them. All right, true. So you're supposed to see the difference. All right, there's another place where Shri says there's a difference between Krishna and Krishna's Naam. When Krishna is rescued from Putana, all the gopis gather around him and put tilak on 12 parts of Krishna's body. Keshivaya Nama, Govindaya Nama, Narayana Nama, Trivikramaya Nama. All these. Then Shri Harishuri says, now see Sri Krishna, it is proved that your name is greater than you because when it comes to protecting you, the gopis used your name. Hence proved that your name is greater than you because it protects even you. That shows distinction between Bhagavan and his Naam. So you're not supposed to artificially see absolute non-difference when the previous acharyas themselves have specified so many differences. But in Kali Yuga, we see Naam as the incarnation of Shri Krishna because Naam is Shri Krishna who has descended in Kali Yuga for the purpose of rescuing all of us in this age. So in that sense, there is no difference, but in a lot of senses, there is difference. All right.
Thank you so much, Babuji. Now you have briefly mentioned that Nam is more merciful. It is like an absolutely amazing distinction. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
That's all credit to the previous acharyas. Thank you. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Lord.
Prabhuji, if I may ask a small follow-up here.
Sure.
There's that verse, Abhinnatvam Nama Namino, famous verse. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it is in the. Could you please explain the meaning of, or there it seems to say, so yeah,
Alright.
I mean, you explained a lot about the difference, the dvayam aspect. Could you please little bit elaborate on the oneness or the abhinnatvam?
Yeah. So it is
Little bit more.
Abhinnatvan, Nama Namino. I will share my screen. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, which is quoting the Padma Puran. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Bhinnatvan Nama Namino. So Nama is directly Krishna. Here in the first line it is said Nama is directly Krishna in certain senses. In what senses? Please answer in yes or no, Param Karuna Prabhu. Nam is Chintamani. It is a touchstone. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Krishna is Chintamani. Krishna is a touchstone. He transforms anybody who comes in contact with him. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. This is a single term and Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. And another way in which this verse is put is sometimes Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha is how, Shri Krishna is Chaitanya, his living force, yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Nam is living force, yes or no?
Yes.
Shri Krishna is the personification of rasa, yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Nam can immediately bring about many rasas. So the Nam is also a container of various rasas, yes or no?
Yes.
Purnaha, Krishna is complete. Yes.
Yes.
Nama is also Purna, although it is more Purna because Nam brings about a memory of Shri Krishna. Yes.
Yes.
Shuddha, both Krishna and Nam are Shuddha.
Yeah.
Nitya Mukto, both Krishna and Nam are eternally liberated from material clutches.
Yes.
These 6 characteristics are possible due to non-difference between name and the named. In this, Chintamani, Chaitanya, Rasa Vigraha, Purnaha, Shuddha, Nitya Mukta, these 6 qualities are common between Nam and Nami. So in these 6 qualities, there is non-difference. But in other qualities, there may be difference. How does that sound?
That's wonderful, Prabhuji. Now this verse makes a whole lot more meaning to me. Thank you so much.
See, that's the difference when we study from the previous commentators. It opens up an entire new universe of understanding.
So within the context of these 6 characteristics, there is non-difference.
Because there's
That's
non-difference between 6. Otherwise, what will happen? Why should we call it Shabda Brahma and Para Brahma? Let's just call Nam and Krishna both as Brahma. Why the distinction of Shabda Brahma and Para Brahma in Shastra?
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, the doubt was there, but I was just sort of putting it on the shelf or to harmonize later. And today is that later day.
So, all right. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. We will go to Rohini Nandan, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam and Dandavat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Especially the commentary of Shri Radha Govindanath and Shri Kanapriya Goswami was amazing. Prabhu, so I don't know if I can frame this correctly, but so as Shri Radha Govindanath Goswami mentioned that the Param Shreya is the Krishna Seva.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming when we say Krishna Seva, it also includes the Vaishnavas, as we understand from Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttama verse. So it also includes the Vaishnavas. But then when you showed the last quote from Jagannadas Babaji Maharaj that it is better to serve the Vaishnavas than inattentive chanting. So, like if I look at these two things together, it seems like even to serve the Vaishnavas, I need to have the proper Sankirtan. So they both like nourish each other, basically, like serving the Vaishnavas is the result of doing the proper Sankirtan. So then why it says then better to serve the Vaishnavas than inattentive chanting? I hope I am making sense.
Yeah, I'm Param Karuna Prabhu, did you understand the query?
Okay.
Not clearly, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Sorry.
So can you try to
can-
rephrase it, Prabhu? Like in
Yes,
in two sentences, if you had to ask, what is the query?
okay. So Krishna Seva includes service to Vaishnavas, right?
Right?
And then that is the result of doing the proper Sankirtan, the Shreya of the Krishna Sankirtan.
All right.
And then the last quote from Jagannadas Babaji is saying that
right.
better to serve the Vaishnavas.
Now I understood.
Yeah.
See, Shri
Could
Krishna
you
Sankirtan.
rephrase the or
Yeah,
the question, Prabhuji?
I'll rephrase. So your first assumption is Krishna Seva includes service to the Vaishnavas. See, Krishna Anushilanam means two things. It doesn't include. There are two distinct things in Krishna Anushilanam. Krishna Sambandhi Anushilanam, direct service to Krishna, and Krishna Artham Anushilanam, direct service to Krishna, and Krishna Sambandhi Anushilanam, service to Vaishnavas related to Krishna. So these two are different. One is different, the second is different. It's not correct to say that one includes the other. These two are categorically distinct in the term Shri Krishna Anushilanam, Sri Jiva Goswami has said. So it's not that one includes the other. Both of them together come together to make Krishna Anushilanam. So that is what Srila Jiva Goswami has said in his commentary. All right, but still, next thing, proper Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is necessary to serve the Vaishnavas. What sort of Shri Krishna Sankirtanam? We should hear from the Guru how to serve the Vaishnavas properly. So hearing from the Guru's Sankirtan is necessary to serve the Vaishnavas. Unless we hear from the Guru properly how to serve the Vaishnavas, we will not be able to serve them nicely. But Sri Jagannadas Babaji Maharaj is saying, if our Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is inattentive, he is not speaking about the Guru. If our Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is inattentive, better to hear from the Guru how to perform service to the Vaishnavas nicely, and as a result, get the required quality of attention and affection towards Sri Harinam, and then serve Sri Harinam properly. So that is what he is saying. So I hope that distinction is clear, that when Sri Jagannadas Babaji Maharaj is saying about serving the Vaishnavas, he is saying that first learn how to serve the Vaishnavas, learn it from the Guru, and that service to the Vaishnavas is dependent upon proper hearing from the Guru. And then after that, then you can properly serve them, then you can get rid of your personal inattentiveness in your japa and your kirtan. So I hope that clarifies.
Yes, Prabhu. I mean, what I'm thinking is like, the service to the, and just this is just in this context only. So service to the Vaishnavas is the result of doing the proper Sankirtan. So like the last
Wait.
quote, it seems
Okay,
like,
let's wait. Service to Vaishnavas is the result of proper Sankirtan by whom?
by Guru.
Wonderful.
Okay, so that is okay. Now
Now you understood.
Yeah. Now, like you mentioned this, but yes. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I had a question, and probably this is a good time to ask it, if it's okay, because it's a kind of on the same line as Rohini Nandan Prabhu. So on that last quote by Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, very wonderful quote, Prabhuji. So in the same line, I just want to clarify if my understanding is correct, that Yes, I fully agree that millions of names chanted inattentively are pretty, meaningless, um, mostly, and better to do seva to Vaishnavas. But in seva to Vaishnavas, also one can do it in a grudging mood, or so many times we feel, oh, I've given this seva, why only me? Why, I have to do five people's work, or hard seva versus we have all these grudges and all that, so that we are always in the material consciousness. And that is also the same as, in the same mood or in the same line as chanting millions of names inattentively. So doing seva also should be done as really as seva of Krishna, as a dedicated mother serves her child, or a child serves the mother and father, without any hetu or motive, fully dedicated. So that's otherwise that begrudging seva is also more or less as meaningless as chanting millions of names inattentively. Correct, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So the main thing here, the main factor here is when we take up service to the Vaishnavas, we should take it up voluntarily. Today we have an organized way of giving sevas, seva distribution. All right. So seva distribution is not what is being talked about here. Voluntary acceptance of seva is what is being talked of here. And Srila Prabhupada confirms this in one of the letters that you can please read this highlighted section.
Yes, Prabhuji. Everyone should be engaged 24 hours. That is the sum and substance. How much you should read and how much you should do other types of service, that has to be decided by each individual devotee. Eating and sleeping should be minimized. Not a single moment should be misused.
So how much you read, how much other seva you do, what type of seva you do, that has to be decided by whom?
Oneself.
So although this becomes difficult in an organized structure, because in an organized structure, you have to delineate seva. So this often comes in conflict when you are running under an organized structure. So Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj has nothing to do with organized structures because he was not part of an organized structure. When he is speaking about seva, we should think from his point of view. Is he thinking about sevas that are delineated in an organization, or is he speaking about seva which is accepted voluntarily as Srila Prabhupada is speaking here?
Purely voluntarily.
So in that type of seva, will one find anything, any grudges?
So no, Prabhuji, no.
Obviously. That's the answer.
So yeah, Prabhuji, sure. Just to make just a last comment, or just and request your feedback. Even sometimes we take up voluntarily in the initial enthusiasm, not distributed, not delineated by any authority or anyone, and later on one may lose interest or one may start to get begrudged. All that is also not proper. One should continue to maintain the proper mood of seva, and as I understand from you, also comes from continued engagement in Shravana and Kirtan.
As soon as favorability is broken, anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, the main condition of Uttama Bhakti is broken. Why continue to perform such a service, especially if one is doing voluntarily? Better to do some other seva, but to do it favorably, especially when you have taken it up voluntarily. Or better to take a small break from that seva, especially when you have taken it up voluntarily.
Yeah, very correct.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Swayam Dāsa tapasvinah. You have taken it up voluntarily, you are Swayam Das. You are a servant of your own self. You decide when to stop, voluntarily pause it. That's how seva is supposed to be, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. we will go to Omkar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Pranam. Thank you for the wonderful class, Shroji. I would also like to thank you especially for the good images which you use in the presentation. So I think you can take credit for that because they do help much in our smarana and other things.
Well,
Prabhu, coming to
the best images are the photos of the previous acharyas and the Goswamis. What credit do I have?
but just as Jiva Goswami put all the verses in one place to make Sandarbhas, you're also bringing it all in one place. Yes, sure. My question was, Shroji, regarding the Radha Govind Nath Prabhu's explanation. So Radha Govind Nath explains in 5 steps. So in the second step, he speaks about identifying oneself as a servant of Shri Krishna.
Yeah.
And in the third step, he will say that Sambandha Vishesha. And
Yeah.
then for the fourth step, he will say that inclination to serve Krishna.
Right.
So this definitely shows that there is an amount of specificity which has to be developed
Yeah.
in the course of bhajan,
Yeah.
especially if it has to be on the standard of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Yeah.
Could you please elaborate on this point? And because
Yeah.
many a times, like, how much deep should this Sambandha Gyan be? I would say the depth.
Yeah, in the Upadeshamritam series, this was discussed. In some places, the Guru directly gives the entire detailed Sambandha Gyan. Like Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was given his entire Sambandha Gyan is Ekadash Bhav by his Guru, Sri Vipin Bihari Goswami. In other parts of the Sampradaya, they give some partial Sambandha Gyan, they just give the eternal identity and the remaining things have to be figured out by the disciple. In some other parts of the Sampradaya, they just give a generic identity, you are Krishna Das, they give a name identifying you as Krishna Das, and you also have to figure out your eternal identity by practice of your sadhana. Obviously, Sri Radha Govindanath comes from that branch of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya where you get details of your eternal identity during the time of Diksha. He is speaking from that point of view. Irrespective of that, whether you get Sambandha Gyan during Diksha or whether you get Sambandha Gyan during your Smaran, your Samadhi, that Sambandha Gyan is a must in order to render service in your Siddha Deva, in your eternal body. So that doesn't change the fact that Shreya ultimately means rendering service in a Siddha Deha. Whether the details of that Siddha Deha come through Diksha or whether the details of that Siddha Deha come through Samadhi. Those are minor differences, but that doesn't change the essential point that Sri Radha Govindanath is trying to make. So I hope that clarifies.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Done.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Dorothea Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guru Gauranga Tataha. My pranams to all the Vaishnavas. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, the acharyas, they masterfully distinguish all these subtleties between like what we learn about auspiciousness and inauspiciousness for the soul. And Prabhu, you further churn out the nectar of these points by sharing also your realizations. So thank you very much for that. These points are scientific and poetic at the same time. I wanted to ask about a point mentioned by Shri Kanupreya Goswami, that Shreya is that which prevents the degradation of the soul and causes gradual elevation for the soul, and that soul and matter are completely different from each other. And but in practical life, it seems to be sometimes difficult to distinguish what is Shreya, what is Preyah, because, for example, one may think I'm doing this for the pleasure of Bhagavan, but actually one may be cheating oneself to just use it as an excuse to become distracted from actual seva. And for example, one may be thinking how to maintain the body by engaging it in according to its ashram and varna. And this seems to be kind of borderline between Shreya and Preyah. So yeah, how do we not become distracted and stay on the path? What would your advice be?
Yeah, so especially when it comes to, first and foremost, I'd like to say about Sri Kanupriya Goswami. I have mentioned it once before, but I'd like to mention it once again here. He's known as Nam Vigyan Acharya in his group, in his branch. He's known as Nam Vigyan Acharya. He really knew the science of Krishna Nam very well. Once there was a debate in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and this debate is still going on to this day. Recently I saw there was a Gaudiya Vaishnava who was making the point that Hare Krishna Mahamantra should not be chanted loudly in Kirtan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Kirtan. It is only meant for japa. It's not meant for Kirtan. So there is, and Sri Kanupriya Goswami was one of the first personalities who wrote about this and said that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not only for japa, but it is also meant for Kirtan. And I'll bring up this point in great detail. I'll bring up both sides when we discuss the final phrase, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So we'll bring up this entire discussion about historically what have been the two sides. And we'll see what Sri Kanupriya Goswami says about Hare Krishna Kirtan, performing Kirtan specifically of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because there is a false accusation which is put on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada that he is the one who started Kirtan of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is a false accusation which has been put on our previous Acharya. But Sri Kanupriya Goswami, he gives many pramanas from the previous Acharyas and Shastras to show that can also be chanted in Kirtan. It's a very, when it comes to Nam Tattva, is very deep. And his commentary on śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam was 50 pages, more than 50 pages. I could not do justice to his commentary. I have to honestly admit, I could not do justice. When I started looking into it, Param Karuna Prabhu was with me and we both saw it together. It was more than 50 pages of commentary on śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam, which I have distilled into a few slides. So I am absolutely guilty of downsizing his commentary, so to say. Because if I would continue explaining his commentary word by word for śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam, I would need minimum 15 sessions to explain only Sri Kanupriya Goswami's commentary on śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam. So I'm obviously a very watered down version of what he's trying to say here. But still, I'm trying to do my best, because if I give 15 sessions simply to śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇam, people will think what has happened to Hari Parshad Das. But I have to state the honest facts, and these are the facts. But anyways, what to do? Coming back to your query, let's say there is a because Sri Kanupriya Goswami said Shreya is to prevent degradation of oneself and degradation of the soul, and to cause gradual elevation of the soul. Now, especially when it comes to bodily necessities, how should one go about deciding on them? So if there is something which we are confused about, then it is better to consult one Shiksha or Diksha gurus and tell them one's honest motivations. Because in front of the Shiksha and Diksha gurus, one should be confident enough to speak one's honest motivations. Secondly, there are also general guidelines in the Shastra about Yukta Vairagya. And this was discussed in the Upadeshamritam series in detail. What is the actual meaning of Yukta Vairagya? Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatharham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Muchyate. So there should be personal detachment from sense gratification, and not artificial, natural detachment from sense gratification. The sort of detachment that Sri Raghunath Das Goswami naturally had at the end of his Grihastha ashram. So If that natural detachment is not there, then the Guru will give another instruction, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, Yatha Yogya Vishay Bhunja. Take sense gratification as much as needed for the body. Within your mind, remain detached. So by speaking one's honest condition to the spiritual master gives a formula as to what amount of bodily maintenance is needed and what beyond which one should not accept. So that keeps us happy and that elevates us gradually on the path of Shreyas. If we try to decide, we may sometimes, our pendulum may swing, sometimes in the direction of sense gratification, sometimes our pendulum may swing in the direction of false renunciation. Better to have the middle path chalked out for us by the words of Shri Guru, especially in cases where we are highly doubtful about our own motivations. So that is the reason why traditionally a Guru is available for immediate consultation. So that is the answer to your query. I hope that satisfies your query.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. We will go to Sonam Prabhu or Sonam Mataji. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the name of a Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanur Pranam. Thank you very much for the class. Prabhuji, my question is when you said name is bigger than form, so greater, you use the word greater. So that greater is in the context of mercy?
That's not my statement, that is Srila Rupa Goswami's statement. And Nam is more merciful than Nami. And he gave the reason. He gave one reason. The one reason that Sri Rupa Goswami gives in Namashtakam, 6th verse, is that when you commit an aparadh towards Shri Krishna, the person, it is Shri Krishna's Naam who can save you from that particular aparadh towards Shri Krishna. For example, let's say during service of the deity, during Shri Vigraha Seva, if we end up committing an aparadh. So if let's say we are serving the deity of Shri Krishna, and maybe some devotee happen. One of the offenses is to have something undigested in the mouth while serving Shri Krishna. So let's say just before going to the service of the deity, one ate something quickly, and while one is still chewing on it, one entered into the deity room. So this is one of the seva aparadhs. Now, Mataji, you have not you. We have committed one seva aparadh. How do we get rid of it? Please
By
tell me.
by chanting the holy name.
All right. So as long as we don't make a license out of it, because that's another trap to think that I will commit seva aparadh and then nullify it by chanting Naam. So as long as we don't make a license out of it, Shri Krishna Naam will save us against direct aparadh rendered towards Shri Krishna. So please tell me from this point of view, who is greater, Naam or Bhagwan?
Naam.
So that's it, that you have answered your own query.
Thank you.
There's the other ways in which Naam is more greater than Bhagwan. In Kali Yuga, who knocked on your door and brought about your elevation in spiritual life, Shri Krishna himself or Shri Krishna Naam?
Naam.
So that is another reason. So there are many reasons why Naam is greater than Shri Krishna. Sri Rupa Goswami had specified the reason that I had mentioned in the 6th verse of Sri Namashtakam. I hope that satisfies your query.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We will go to A.S. Nitai Prabhu next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavats Pranam. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, could not come on video, Prabhu. Thanks for all your wonderful classes, Prabhu. It's just not giving jnana. So you are giving a lot of transformation in our progress. So thanks a lot for that. My question is, Prabhuji, regarding Chatur with the Bhajan Tema. So a devotee person comes for Artharthi. One of the person comes for Artharthi. So then he comes to Sadhana Bhakti, where he get auspiciousness, Subhada and Preyah. So if my understanding is, I want to confirm my understanding. When we do Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, when we get Cheto Darpana Marjana, so our Artharthi will go, then we get into Bhava Mahadavagni, then only Shreya. So this Shreya you have mentioned, it is not material. So at this stage, when keep doing Sankirtana, first we will get cleansed of the heart, then we get solved with the Mahadavagni, burning fire, then we get to Shreya. Is my understanding okay, Prabhuji?
So all these things are directly mentioned by Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. If you see Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, you can directly get an answer. There is a verse about these 4 types. Param Karuna Prabhu, have you read that verse in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu?
Are you talking about Shubhada?
No, the 4 types that are
Sukriti-
mentioned. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukriti norjana.
In
I
Bhagavad
am.
Gita or Bhagavad Sindhu?
Oh, no, the Bhagavad Gita, but a mention is made in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Here it is in front of all of us. 1.2.20.1. Tatra Gītādiṣu uktānām chaturnaṁ adhikāriणाम् मध्ये यस्मिन् भगवतः कृपा स्यात् तत्प्रियस्य वा. Tatra Gītādiṣu uktānām. So those who are specified in the Gita, chaturnaṁ adhikāriणाम्, 4 types, amongst which there are artho, distressed, artharthi, one who desires wealth. Madhye, amongst them, yasmin bhagavataha kripa syat, one who is blessed by Bhagavan, or tat priyasyava, one who is blessed by devotee of Bhagavan. Sakshina tat tat bhavah syat. He becomes diminished in that respective. So his feeling of distress is diminished, his feeling of receiving money is diminished, and becomes Shuddha Bhakti Adhikaravan. Then becomes eligible for Shuddha Bhakti, then receives śreyaḥ-kairava. So first, reduction of that material motivation, and then comes Shreya, ultimate Shreyas. That is mentioned directly by Srila Rupa Goswami. So I hope that satisfies your query.
Yes, Prabhu. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji. Take it.
Thank you. So now we will go back to Vishwadweep Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, the question I have is indirectly related to today's class, not directly. So should I ask?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, when we were talking about Daiva Sukha of Devatas, there it was mentioned that they only has subtle body. So, I always had a question that after our each birth, after death, what do we carry to next birth? So, one answer I got that there are 8 puris and even the indriyas, even the senses are also carried to next body, next birth we get, any birth. So can you please clarify on this, that after that, what actually goes? Does all Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, everything goes, and where we can read about it more, about after that, the things?
Yeah, after death, where does... See, the thing is, most of the details are mentioned in the Upanishads, but a short summary of this is as follows: that the senses, the mind, the intelligence of the devatas is not as gross as the senses, the mind, the intelligence of the living entities in human species on planet Earth. Therefore, the devatas are able to be present in many places at once. Wherever there is fire, there is presence of Agni Devata. Wherever there is water, there is presence of Varun Devata. So their senses, their mind, their intelligence are certainly more spread out, broader than the senses, mind, and intelligence of the living entities in human species of life. What goes along with the particular living entity after death is the vasanas that a living entity is carrying and the karmas that a living entity is carrying. The karmas and vasanas are the two things, the chitta vrittis, the vasanas that a particular living entity is having. Those chitta vrittis, those vasanas, and the sanchit karma, the karma that one has stockpiled in the human form of life. All these things are mainly carried over in the sukshma deha, in the subtle body of the living entity after the living entity departs from the sthula deha, from the gross body. These are the main things that are carried forward. But if you want to learn more about it, there is a description in Chandogya Upanishad and other Upanishads. But for that, you'll have to make a detailed study of those particular sections of the Upanishads. But mainly what goes ahead is what I have specified. Mana shasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Mana shasthani indriyani. Mind becomes the carrier, and then takes all the senses. And then in the Gita, commentator Sridhar Swami specifies that just as a flower leaves behind its fragrance, similarly all the senses, they leave behind their samskars or their vasana. And the samskars or vasanas are carried from one body to another body, just as the fragrance of a flower is carried from one place to another place by the wind. So you can also read that in the commentary of Sridhar Swami to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Right? That is the answer to it.
Just a small follow-up, just a confirmation that you told that Sukshma Deha goes, right? So Sukshma Deha also includes the Indriyas. So when we are talking about this time, when we are talking about Sukshma Deha, then we are not talking about Indriyas, but Man and its Vasanas only.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Devata Sukshma Indriyas includes their sight, sound, etc. But when the Gita is speaking about Sukshma Indriyas, it includes Mana, Buddhi and Ahankar only. Alright, so there are two nuances to the term Sukshma. One is that one nuance is that they are not made out of the substance earth, just as our senses are made out of the substance earth. But the Devata's senses are not made out of the substance earth. Alright, so this is one nuance of the term Sukshma. Another nuance of the term Sukshma is it refers to the three subtle senses, mind, body, mind, intelligence, and ego. So this is another nuance of the term Sukshma. So there are nuances of the term Sukshma in Shastra. So according to the usage, you have to select the nuance. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there are two questions in the chat.
Sure.
If you may want to quickly scan them.
Sure, Prabhu. We will. Okay. What is it? In the last quote of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, we say service to the Vaishnavas. Does it mean service to a Vaishnavas chanting pure name? We don't have those considerations in relation to other Vaishnavas. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says anybody who chants even once can be considered as a Vaishnava. If we start having those distinctions, our service will become very limited. So service to the Vaishnavas means service to all sorts of Vaishnavas. Second, my pranams, if Nam nullifies aparad made towards the Vachyam, to the personality, then does Nam nullify the offenses made towards itself? Yes, Nam also nullifies offenses made towards itself. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is said that Jate Nama Paradhepi Pramadena Kathanchana Sada Sankirtayan Nama Tadaika Sharano Bhavet. I will show this particular verse. It's in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, 11th Vilas, 11th chapter, verse number 525. I am sharing my screen. 525 says, Jate Nam Aparadepi. Even if Nam Aparad takes place, you can Sada Sankirtayan Nama. You can get rid of them by constantly performing Nam Sankirtan. 526 says, Nama Aparadha Yukta Nam. For those who have Nam Aparad, Namani Eva Haranti Agham. It is Nam which takes away that Aparad. But Avishranta Prayuktan, you have to be one pointed towards Harinam. So that is the answer to the query. All right.
Prabhuji, there was actually one more which was sent only to me directly. So,
right.
So that I could ask it to you.
Yeah.
So the question by Nilachal Chandrika Mataji, it says, if the Ashtanga Yogi attain Shantaras in the spiritual world, so can it be Vaikuntha Lok or Golok Vrindavan? And then the sort of the Prabhuji.
Yes. Golok or Vaikuntha depends on the personality that they are attracted towards, right? It's not just a random formula. An Ashtanga Yogi may become inclined to different forms of Bhagavan, depending on which form of Bhagavan they are attracted to. The destination is decided accordingly.
Okay, Prabhuji. And then the follow-up is there any possibility of them getting other rasas other than Shant rasa by association of sadhus?
As long as they are in a practitioner's body and they have not perfected themselves, there's always a chance that they can become influenced by another sadhu. Once they have perfected their rasa as Shanta in the spiritual world, that's it. Because that is the rasa which makes them feel completely fulfilled. We may think that that rasa is incomplete, but for them, that is the highest rasa that they can have. In the Upadeshamritam series, we had discussed and we brought about this point. Chaitanya Charitamrita also says, Yai rasa, he say Uttama. So I'll try to, I'll share my screen and show this reference from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So you see Madhya 8.83. Kintu yara yai rasa sai sarvottama. It is true that whatever relationship a particular devotee has with the Lord is best for him. So that is how a particular devotee feels about their relationship with Bhagavan. Why do they need anything more? We may think from a neutral point of view that they need more. They don't think like that. For them, for a person who's in Shantaras, Shanta is the perfection of their lives. All right.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Okay, we come to the end of today's session, Prabhuji. Any closing remarks?
I'm very grateful to all the devotees, and I'm sorry for shortening the 50-page commentary of Sri Kanupriya Goswami. Those who are interested can read in the original, but it's in Bangla, and I'm just a postman and a very poor one who brought out a diluted message. Usually, I don't try to do that. Sri Radha Govindanath's commentary I did completely, sentence by sentence. But since Sri Kanupriya Goswami's commentary was 50 plus pages, therefore I could only bring out the essential points, and I am guilty of watering down it into the essence. So I hope the devotees forgive me for that. Also, I'd like to repeat that this particular series of talks is more informal. I'm wearing a different hat here in the sense that this is not a formal talk given in a particular a temple setting or within a particular group. So this is more informal, and I hope that the devotees appreciate this informal style of speaking on Sri Upadeshamritam, where we are learning from various personalities of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya with a broader frame of mind. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And I don't think it's a you distilled it to the essence, the 50-page commentary for our benefit. So that is a great thing that you have done to make it accessible and sort of bite-sized for us. We cannot comprehend the 50 pages. You have done the hard work and given the essence to us in a simple to understand, digest way. So I take it as a great blessing upon us that we have you to do the hard work and make it understandable to us. Otherwise, not even one word out of those 50 pages would be accessible to me at least. So thank you so much for doing the hard work and summarizing it. It's a great art.
I'm grateful. I have commentators who have written so much, who cared about the verse so much to write 50 plus pages about it. It's a great gift to have such personalities within our sampradaya. And irrespective of the fact that some of the commentators may have certain differences of opinion over minor points, I'd like to see the greater unity of message that they have, because it's only when we recognize the uniqueness of each personality and we are able to take good things from them. And that is the mood with which this series of talks is being given. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough, Prabhuji. And let us all thank Prabhuji with the bottom of our hearts for all the hard work he puts in for each session and throughout the week in answering so many questions on the group. I just can't imagine how you do that. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. And others can also, I'm sure.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Thank
Parshad,
you.
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada
Hare
ki
Krishna.
jai.
Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Radhe Radhe.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Radhe
Thank
Radhe.
you.
Thank you
Srila
so much,
Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhuji.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Thank you, Lord.
Srila
Thank you
Prabhupada
so
ki
much,
jai.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you
Jai.
so much, Prabhuji. Thank you
Srila
so
Prabhupada
much.
ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
God bless you, Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. May the previous
Hare
acharyas bless. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So all very happy Damodar Mas Puji.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for bringing out so much knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right.
Close the call now.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam. Hare Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Bol.